Hey, family and friends, welcome back to the channel and welcome to today's video. I hope you all are doing well wherever you are watching this video in the world. I hope life is going well for you. I hope you are as busy as I have been the last couple of weeks getting myself together in preparation for my launch. I am, as of today, officially 71 days away from living abroad full time. And I would be lying if I said that I'm not a little nervous about it. I am, but I'm eagerly at the same time that I have that nervous energy. I'm eagerly awaiting the moment that I can board that flight and say arrivederci to the United States for at least a couple of years. It'll be a couple of years at least until I come back. So yeah, I hope that you are, wherever you are, making your plans to exit. I want to welcome you all to the Diatribe. I haven't done a Diatribe video in a little while now. And what sparked this Diatribe is easy, really. If you are someone who makes it a point to stay abreast of current events, if you're someone who is reading the newspapers, we don't read newspapers anymore, but if you're staying abreast of current events, if you're watching commentary, listening to political commentary, if you are aware of what's going on the geopolitical stage, there is a lot going on and there's a lot to talk about and there is a lot to consider, especially for those of us in this space, the move abroad space, the great migration space. It's just nonstop. Every single day, there is something going on. And so the Diatribe gives me the opportunity to just rant for a minute on whatever comes to my mind. It's unscripted for the most part. I don't really think about what I'm going to talk about, but it's often predicated on something that I've read, heard, seen on social media, in the news, and it's usually related to geopolitics. So as it relates to moving abroad. Before we get too far off into the weeds, those of you who are new to the channel and my returning subscribers, welcome, welcome. My name is Stacey Paulin. I'm semi-retired. I am living my best life. I am putting myself back at the top of my to-do list where I belong, and I am about to launch out of here and into my new home country. And like I said, 71 days from today. So I am excited to have you here. If you are a member of the Great Migration 2.0, as I am, if you are looking to become a member of the Great Migration 2.0, meaning someone who is looking to gather information in preparation for leaving the United States specifically, I'm talking to my folks who are born, bred, their families go back generations here on this soil, and you are ready to chart a new territory for yourself and your family outside of these United States, you are in the right place. I am here on this channel documenting my journey as I prepare to launch and all of the things, the multitude of things that come along with that launch as I prepare to go. I was watching a video from a fellow content creator here on YouTube in the move abroad space, and she was talking a lot about this recent layoff, how Black women have lost jobs, have been pushed out of positions, have been fired, have been denied promotion, all in an attempt to get them out of the workforce, right? There are lots of little tactics and things that are being used right now to push us out, to keep us downtrodden. And it just made me think of all the things that flood my mind day in and day out, day in and day out. And I titled this video, Moving Abroad Isn't Enough, because it's not enough. We need to be focusing, in my opinion, not only on moving abroad, but carving out a life abroad for the foreseeable future. There are lots of people in the move abroad space right now talking about going out of the country. I'm speaking again specifically and directly to those of us here in the US, born and raised, been here for generations. That's who I'm talking to. There are lots of us who, for whatever reason, don't seem to think that this threat is imminent. And there are lots of folks in the Move Abroad space that are proposing that many of us just find a place to go for a time and then we come back. We can, we can globetrot for a couple of months and wait till things die down and then we can come back. And the question I always have, that question that I always raise to that is, come back to what exactly? What exactly is there to come back to? Because I don't understand. I don't really get it. It's frustrating to me because I have conversations with people that I'm very close to, that I love dearly, about this. And I see a lot of commentary about this thing here. And it concerns me because I don't really think that many of us understand the threat at the door right now. Right now. It's not a new threat. That's the thing. It's not a new threat. It's a threat that's been at the door for quite some time. But the rapping at the door is getting harder, stronger, more aggressive. It's happening faster. Every single day, we are bombarded with news of what is going on around the world, either affecting the United States or caused by the United States. We are in a very unique position where we are experiencing a literal changing of the guard on the planet. On the planet. It's really important for us, I think, as Black people. This is really important because I have a lot of people in my circle. They laud MSNBC and CNN and NBC, all the lefter leaning legacy media outlets. And they talk about how they watch these outlets and how they get their news from these sources. And I'm not knocking. You can watch whatever news media you want to watch, but you are severely myopic if you think that you are getting a full, clear picture of what is going on geopolitically if you are only watching those programs on those channels. We have entered into a moment in history where if you are not aware, and I mean acutely aware, of what's happening in this country, the implications around the world based on what's happening in this country, and what other countries are doing in response to what we're doing, if you're not aware of what's going on around the world, you don't know what's going on. And my fear is that, you can watch whatever media sites you want to. I have never been a fan of legacy media. I do not subscribe to legacy media. So you won't catch me watching CNN or MSNBC or any of those programs there. The only reason I would ever watch those programs is just to hear what foolishness they're talking about, whatever their paymasters are telling them to talk about and hype up at the moment. Just so I'm aware of the foolishness they're talking about. But that's not where I get my news to stay informed. I don't depend on that. I want a global view, not a myopic view. I want a global view of what's going on in the world. And that helps me to frame what's happening in the moment, but it also helps to guide the decisions I make about what I'm doing in my life. This is one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about the Move Abroad and Live Abroad movement. There needs to be a delineation between folks who move abroad and globetrot and digital nomad, and those of us who are moving abroad to live abroad permanently. with no expectations of coming back, no expectations of giving up on ourselves and our dreams, because we feel so tethered to saving, salvaging what's here in the United States. I always come back to the same question. What are you returning to? What is it here that keeps you here? What is it here that makes you want to come back here? They did a real number on us, them folks did a real number on us when they brainwashed us and changed and rearranged our whole way of thinking and being. When you erase someone's identity and culture and you implant something totally different, antithetical to who they are, they behave antithetical to what they want and who they want to become. And that is what has happened to many of us. When I raise that question, what are you returning to? Many people say, well, we fought so hard for XYZ in this country, and we are owed XYZ. This country belongs to us. Does it really? Does it really? I would argue this country doesn't belong to us. It never belonged to us. We were chattel slaves brought to this country to do a job. And when that job was completed, all they did was changed and rearranged our responsibility for buttressing the system, as it were. So instead of being in chains and on the chain gang and picking cotton, now we're working for billionaires and trillionaires. And just because we can afford to drive around in a Mercedes G-Wagon, we think we've made it. They've got us so fooled, so fooled. Because when we take a step back and we look at our lives and we recognize that even with all that money, that little money that you have in your pocket, that you got in your bank account right now, you're still sending your children to schools where many of them have to walk through metal detectors or have their backpacks searched before they walk in. You're sending your children to schools where they'll never and have never learned the history of this country and the history of who they are. You are sending your children to schools where you may drop them off in the morning and you may not see them when the school bell rings at the end of the day because someone blew up the school or shut up the school. You go to churches every Sunday and someone could just walk up in there and just shoot up the whole place. These are real possibilities. These aren't like, we're not making these things up, right? These things have happened and they will continue to happen in this climate, in this country. So you have all the money that you need. You live in the life and you're working hard. You're working on your job and you've paid for a home and you have a mortgage on a home that you spend maybe 5 hours a week in. Like those are the only waking hours you spend in your home because you're working so hard. You don't even enjoy the fruits of your labor. You can't take anything longer than a weekend vacation. And then when you want to take something longer, you got to beg and plead to get the days off. This is the kind of life that you're living here in these United States, the land of the free and the home of the brave. Many of you talk about, I've served in the military and I have fought hard to protect this country and serve this country. You didn't serve yourself. You darn sure didn't serve me. You served an imperialistic ideal. Yeah, you did that. You did that. And yes, you got a paycheck for it. You got a paycheck for it. But you were a cog in the wheel of the military machine that's meant to bully countries all around the world, extract their resources, exploit their people. That's what you did in the military. by being a military. I hate to be this way. I don't hate to be this way. I think we need to speak honestly about this country. We need to speak honestly about what is happening and stop fooling ourselves with this idea of honor and nobility, all this garbage. We have been sold a lie, and many of us, Black people, family, many of us have bought into the lie. What are you returning? If you were to come back to the United States, what are you returning to? What are you coming back to? A lie. And you've been fighting. I've been fighting for this lie for so long. And I, for one, just refuse to keep doing it. I'm too old for this. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not doing it anymore. And so when I say moving abroad is not enough, what I mean by that is I would love to see more of us focusing on living abroad. It's not enough to move abroad. I want us saying, I'm living abroad for the rest of my life. I have no intentions of ever coming back to these United States, ever coming back. I'm not coming back. It doesn't matter what happens to me overseas. It doesn't matter if I get homesick. It doesn't matter what's going on, unless it is some type of an emergency. Like I got a family issue going on. Someone needs me desperately. There's something I have to handle. Unless that is the case, I am not coming back to these United States. I am divesting for once and for all, divesting. One of the saddest things to me when it comes to our community is that we have bought into this idea of individualism. As long as I got what I need, then everybody else can get what they need. And I've got my job, I've got my career, I've got my money, I've got my beautiful house, car, my kids, my husband, my wife. I've got what I've got what I need. I'm good. And so y'all, and I think that has been one of the biggest downfalls of the Black community, that we don't operate and move and behave like we used to operate and move and behave back in the day as a community. It wasn't that we were monolithic in our movement. We weren't. We all come from different religious backgrounds. Political leanings are different. The way we raise our family structures can be quite different. But we all knew what it meant to move as a community, as a block. The civil rights movement is a prime example of that. The bus boycotts are a prime example of that. You had people on code back then. They knew what to do and how to behave and how to move for the betterment of all people. And I think the Move Abroad movement needs to take some clues from that movement. And I think we have. I think when you look at a lot of content creators, we are sounding the alarm. We're trying, and I know I am, trying to sound the alarm to let people know, let's do this as a community. Let's really let the people know what's really going on. Let's make them aware that this is not a game. This is for real. And you can't survive in these streets being an individual. We have to lean on one another to make it, to survive, because that's the only way we have ever survived. It's the only way we've ever survived. We can't stop doing that now. Not right now. This is why this time I'm trying my best to stay as consistent as I can with the message, because I think right now in this moment, it is really, really important for us to understand the threat at the door. some of the content I see too around the Move Abroad, Live Abroad movement can definitely come across as like fear mongering and doomsday and prepper and all that stuff. And I understand that too. But I think that is where we are right now. It warrants that type of tone and that type of response because that is what we are facing right now in this moment. And if you don't see it, I don't know. I don't know what you're ingesting. I don't know what information you're taking in. And I really don't know what it's going to take. That's the thing. I don't know what it's going to take for you, for all of us to see where this train is going. And you know what? When the train gets to its destination, I will not be on it. I'm off this train in 71 days. I have no return ticket. Do you understand? I have no return ticket. I have a one-way ticket on this train, and in 71 days, I'm off, and that's it for me. I think it's important to talk logistics in this video too, because I hear people saying, well, it may be easy for you because you've got resources and you've got this and you've got that. I'm going to say this. Remote work, content creation, creativity, all of those things are available to each and every one of us. And so if you have not started your crochet channel on TikTok or your fitness channel on YouTube or whatever it is, you should probably do that because there are people out here who are looking for your information and looking for your voice. And then whatever skills and talents you have, lend them to remote work positions. It may take you a while to find the position that suits you the best, but you got to start now, like yesterday. Yesterday, you have to start. And if you don't have skills, if you say, well, I don't have any real skills, I'm gonna look. If you're Black, because that's who's on this channel. If you look at me and you tell me you have no skills, if I had a shoe and I could throw it and hit you, I would throw it and hit you because I know you have some skills. You're just not thinking outside the box as to how you can monetize those skills. But you have to begin to think of yourself as you are proprietary property. Your brain and everything it produces is proprietary property. I hope y'all are picking up what I'm putting down. Everything that you think, do, all your ideas, that belongs to you. And so begin to package it in a way that services the people, your ideal clientele. And begin to package it in a way that can be beneficial for existing companies and organizations that are looking to hire talent. Don't get caught up in a position where you have to have boots on the ground here in the United States. That's a no-no. We need to have freedom of movement. We need to be flexible in our movement. And the only way to ensure that is to get on these computers that we sit in front of, these screens that we sit in front of 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and figure out how to eke a living out. The beautiful thing about this is, and this is one thing I'll be very transparent about this, when I transitioned into non-clinical work as a PA, it's non-clinical. So I'm not in clinic actually touching patients, but I'm still seeing patients. What I had to get over was the idea that I needed to make all this money. The same amount of money I'm making now is the same amount of money or more that I want to be making. That no, I don't. Why? You have to begin to think about what it is you really need to survive and thrive. And 9 times out of 10, it's a lot less than what you think. So you may be turning down opportunities that are paying you maybe 75% of what you're used to making, and you're like, no, I can't do. Yes, you can do it. And the thing is, you can thrive and live like a queen or a king outside of the United States on that budget, on that salary. And you could probably work that job part-time and still do just fine. And I'm talking about not paycheck to paycheck living like you're used to doing here in the United States. I'm talking about having money to spare, having money to splurge, and having money to save. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. So logistically, because it's great to rant. This is therapy for me, okay? But it's useless without offering some type of assistance. And I'm a visionary. I make no apologies about it. I may not be the best at implementation for people, but I can lay out your whole life for you in 10 minutes. All you got to do is do the work. I'll lay your whole life out for you in 10 minutes. And it's how I've been able to be successful for myself in a multitude of areas in the market, a multitude of areas. So that's the first thing I would say. Think logistically about your skill sets, what you can do in the market to make an income. And don't think that you have to make $5,000 plus a month or whatever you're used to making. Because I was so delusional. I was like, Stacey, you making all this money. You got this 6-figure career going. We want to keep that going when you move. No, I don't want to keep it going. No, it's not necessary. And I would have passed up a wonderful opportunity, more than one wonderful opportunity, had I been looking at the dollar signs and less at the flexibility and freedom that remote work gives me right now. It's unreal. I just got back. I've been gone for 3 weeks, right? And working and getting paid while I've been traveling and living my best life. That's what we all need. Not only to move abroad, but to stay and live full-time abroad. That is the goal. That is the goal. The other thing that comes to mind is we cannot wait any longer to get our documents in order. Listen, family, I feel like just shaking this. I feel like just shaking this screen. Please listen to the folks out here in the Move Abroad movement who are imploring you to get your stuff together and prepare to move abroad, live full-time abroad. That's the new thing. Okay. So when I say move, I mean move and stay gone, not move and dip your toe in the pool and then come back. No, we're not doing that. We are moving to stay gone. But I hope you're listening to us, me and others, when we say your family members might be telling you, other creators are telling you, get your documents in order. Pull out your passport and tell me, you don't have to tell me, tell yourself, remind yourself what the expiration date is on your passport. And if it is less than a year, you need to go ahead and renew the passport. If you have a couple years to spare, then you may be okay. You may be okay. You may want to look into seeing about going ahead and getting it renewed so you can have a full 10 years. And you won't have to worry about it. Because then you won't have to worry about it because of the next thing I'm going to talk about. But get your passport updated. And those of you who don't have a passport, for the love of all things, good and true in this world, please get your passport today. I'm going to extend this out and say, for those of you who have family members, if you're caregivers, you have elderly parents, your father, your mother, your siblings, if they don't have a passport, especially if they're elderly, go ahead and start the paperwork process to get that passport for them. It's not difficult. It's not hard to do. Get them information. Get them ready so that if you need to move them, when you prepare to move them, that'll be one less thing you have to worry about. Don't wait to the last minute to do that. The other thing is, do you have your birth certificate? Do you have other vital documents, your social security card and number? Driver's license is up to date, identification, all of those things. If you're married, you got a marriage certificate. If you're divorced, you got a divorce decree and settlement agreement. I'm for real. Get to the courthouse tomorrow and go get these papers. And once you get them, you need to have them apostilled. You will have to go, depending on the state you're in, you will have to go to the county where you were divorced, the county where you filed for divorce, the county that you were married. Go to the courthouse, go to the clerk of court's office and request a certified copy. Pay the money to get the certified copy of those documents. Every person, your husband, the wife, both of you need to have your own copy. Everyone has their own copy of everything. And make sure that those things are certified. Once they're certified, find the apostille department in your state. Here in the state of Georgia, there is only one place to get those kinds of documents apostille, and it's in Gwinnett County. You don't even have to make an appointment. All the way up until 4 p.m., they will apostille documents, and it happens very quickly. People from all over the world that live here in Georgia go there to get their documents apostilled, but it takes like 10 minutes. Go get your documents apostilled so that when you move to the next step that I'm talking about in this video, you will have the paperwork you need in order to do what you need to do. Keep these documents in a safe place so you know where they are. Make digital let me show you what I have here. Let me show you what I have. I have a 2 terabyte external hard drive that I carry with me everywhere. And on this hard drive, I have every single document that I'm telling you right now. I've got a copy of my social security card, my birth certificate, all of my apostille documents, divorce decree, settlement agreement, marriage certificate. I have all of it on this. And so if I ever need to reference it or I need to send a copy to somebody, I have it right here and I can take it with me wherever I go. Get your documents in order. Get your life in order. Get your life in order, family. Get your life in order, please. This is not a game. This is not a game. If you haven't begun doing your research on what country you want to go to, you need to start doing that now. I need to make a new video about that process because I think some people are reverse engineering it in the way they describe it. And I understand the reason why they're doing it because they're promoting a product, they're trying to get you into their pipeline. I understand that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But we really have to stop, Black people. We have to stop following where everybody else goes because that's the popular place to go when it really doesn't suit you and the lifestyle that you're trying to live. Or in the case of some of these places, you're priced out. And don't wait until 2026. Nobody will be able to go to some of these countries. It'll be too expensive. The requirements will be just too high to qualify. This is why it's important to start doing these things now. Now. If you have not started the process of researching what country to choose, what country to go to, you have to start doing that work now. Think about what you're looking for. Make a list of your non-negotiables, the things you need, the life you want to live, the things you cannot live without, the experiences you want in this new home country. Think about that. Let that be your North Star, not where your friend went or where folks in the Facebook group went or where everybody is going or where the largest Black expat community is. Don't let that be your North Star. You are your North Star. Please listen to me. You are your North Star. You know everything about you. and what it is you're looking for and what it is you want and what's going to make you happy, let that be your North Star. And then when you decide where you're going or the countries on your list that you want to consider, choose one and book a ticket there immediately. Like within the next 2 to 3 weeks, I'll give you a month. I'll give you to the end of August. Within the next 3 to 4 weeks, you should have picked a country that you're considering heavily because you've done your research. You got to do your research. And based on that research and your knowledge about how well the country will suit you, you book a ticket to take a scouting trip. Why? And I've talked about this in a previous video, but I think I should do an updated video. While you are preparing for that scouting trip, 3, 4, 5 months down the line, you are already starting to review and consider the visa process for that country and even the other countries on your list if you have more than one. This is where all of the apostille papers that I talked about, all of the certified papers I talked about, your licenses, your certification, your social security, your marriage licenses, your passport, all that stuff is going to come into play when it's time to apply for your visa. And I have to say this as well. The goal for those of us who are moving abroad to live abroad forever is not temporary residency. That's a start. That'll get you in the door, but the goal needs to be permanent residency and or citizenship. Permanent residency and or citizenship. And so you have to concern yourself with the responsibilities regarding maintaining that visa, well, obtaining it, maintaining it, and then knowing what the rules are in terms of dual citizenship if you intend to keep your citizenship in the United States. Research, 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 and tap into all of the resources that are available on the internet. If you're at all interested in Latin America, reach out to me. I'm happy to talk to you about all of this. I've traveled to a number of Latin American countries. I know a lot about Latin America because I've researched it. I've researched it for my own purposes when I was looking for my new home country. So I know, I've talked to a lot of lawyers. I know what the process is for a lot of places, and I can help guide you. We have to act and behave as if this is a serious thing, because it is a serious thing. And my fear is that too many of us are going to wait because we're complacent, because we're procrastinators, because we really don't think what's going to happen is what's going to happen when it's actually happening right in front of your face. And we're going to find ourselves in a position where when we finally get it, that we have to prepare to get out of here. We want to live a life that is deserving of us and that we deserve. It's going to be too late. And a lot of the options that were available to you right now, the ones that are available to you now, won't be available in the way that they are now later on. Think about it. There are people, and I've spoken to facilitators in some Latin American countries who have said to me that if some of their clients that they had 2-3 years ago, that they helped to get citizenship, residency, and later on citizenship, if they were trying to get residency and citizenship, I cannot say that word tonight, residency and citizenship right now, they wouldn't qualify. That's how quickly the requirements are changing for a lot of these countries. And why, family? It's because the geopolitical climate is changing rapidly every single day. Geopolitical relations are changing. The rules, the regulations are changing. And we have to think not as citizens of the US, but citizens of the world, the globe, how we fit in around the world, how people perceive us around the world right now. It's not a good look right now to be someone from the United States. In some countries, it's not a good look. You see what's happening in Mexico. You see what's happening in Spain. You see what's happening in some other places around the world where expats have congregated. There are rules and regulations that are changing, and attitudes are changing as well. We better understand what's going on. The new currency for us as Black people is not how much money you're making at your job or how many degrees you have, because no one cares. Nobody cares except for you. I hate to be harsh. I really do, but I really don't, because I think we need some straight shooting going on right now. No one cares about any of that stuff. That's not your currency in the grand scheme of things. I think in the grand scheme of things, what's going to become our currency is freedom of movement, the tools that allow for freedom of movement, flexibility, and virtual remote income. Those are, if you have the tools to get those things, you are going to be golden. If you have the tools to maintain those things, you're going to be golden. And what does that mean? That means you need skills that the marketplace needs, that you can exploit online in a remote virtual setting. That means you need credentials that make you highly sought after. You need talents and skills, which I know you have. You got more than one. You got more than 5, probably. Talents and skills that you know how to package and deliver to the audience that's looking for you. And you need the proper credentials to move in and out of countries all around the world. My recommendation for those of us who are intending to live abroad full time is that we start working on one residency. Just start working on one. Get the ball rolling on that one temporary residency that you know you're going to parlay into a permanent residency or citizenship. And once you get the ball rolling on number 1, then you start on number 2. Ideally, this number 2 residency is somehow, some way going to be related to the first residency, or it's going to be in a totally different continent altogether. So you have the best of both worlds. You've got U.S. citizenship, you've got residency in new home country A, and you got a backup in country B abroad. And then the hierarchy is new home country, where you probably spend 50% of your time. That's your plan A. That's a done deal. A DD, as my mom and I say. Done deal. You're going to be there without a doubt. That's where your new home base is going to be. That's your launching pad to plan B, which is the backup temporary permanent residency in another country somewhere else. And then your plan C is the United States. Because if something happens with plan A, you got the backup plan B. And then if something happens with backup plan B, you can always go back to plan A. And if something happens, hopefully it doesn't, and for whatever reason something goes down and you got to return to the US, at least it's there. But we have no intention of using it, which is why it is plan C. Start working on residency 1. Get the ball rolling on that one, then start on residency number 2 as your plan B. The threat is at the door. We see what's going on around the world. There's nothing here for us other than struggle, longing for a life and for a world here in the United States that never existed and will never exist, regardless of how hard we toil and slave and work and pray and vote. It doesn't matter. None of that matters. And the reason I say that is because the things that we are working and praying and voting for, we already have them. We're just too stubborn to realize that the things that we've been working, praying, fighting for don't live in the United States. They're somewhere else outside of the United States. And we could have had it a long time ago if we hadn't been so myopic about that fact. If we would have opened up our horizons, took the blinders off and said, you know what? My ancestors didn't relegate me to this soil here. They were brought here to do the work, and they were forced to do the work. But if they had a choice, they wouldn't have done it. They'd have gone back home. And so I believe with everything in me that our ancestors are telling us, it's time to go home. And because you are the creator of the world, the entire world, and you are the builders, the mothers and fathers of the entire world belongs to you. So wherever it is you find your home on the planet, go make that place home. It's not here. The history is too dark. The water it's not even muddy. It's a cesspool. So how are we going to spend our lives and our children's lives and their children's lives filtering that water until it runs clear? Or are we going to turn our gaze to waters that already run clear and start drinking from that pool and start utilizing that water to fertilize and fuel the lives that we want to live, to nourish and nurture the lives that we want to live, that we've been trying to live here? It's not going to happen. Moving abroad is not enough. The goal is to live and stay out of these United States. Let this country, let it do what it's going to do. That's none of our business anymore. We're in a period right now where we have said, not our problem, not our fight. We need to maintain that energy. And it's time to take our brilliance and our genius somewhere else, where it's going to be appreciated, where it's not going to be exploited. It's not going to be trampled on. It's not going to be erased, stolen, appropriated. None of that. And it does exist. That's why the scouting trips are so important. So important. And I'll talk more about that too in a future video. Details, and I've talked about that in a video prior, but I think it's important to keep rehashing these things that now I'm a firm believer on, because I've seen it. I'm experiencing it now as I prepare to launch and never look back. All right. I hope this video has helped somebody, and it's been a long one. I think this is the longest video to date. I hope y'all been able to hang with me to the end, and I hope this helps even one person. Reach out to me if I can be of any assistance to you. Sometimes I think it helps to just talk things through with somebody that you can trust, someone that is going through what you're going through, someone who has gone through what it is you're trying to go through. And that's why this channel is here. That's why the community is here. That's why the Facebook groups exist, so that we can behave like we are supposed to behave, which is like a community, to help one another, edify one another, teach one another, love one another through this process, because it's not easy. It's not a cakewalk. And to support one another, to answer the questions, to fill in the gaps, to make sense out of stuff that many of us have never done before, ever. We are charting we are breaking new ground with this. Many of us are doing something we've never done. No one in our family has ever done anything like this before. This is why we are members of the Great Migration 2.0. Yes, there are moments where you may not know what to do. Yes, there are moments where you may be confused, scared to take the next step, scared to ask the question, scared to take the trip. Move anyway. Move anyway. We got your back, because we're doing the same thing. We have your back. You're not here alone. You are not alone. I promise you that. And you will make it. and you're going to do just fine. I have no doubt about that. And the reason why I don't doubt that is because as Black people, we are still here. After all these centuries and all of this toil, we are still here. We are still standing tall. We are still holding our heads high. And we just have gotten to a point where we refuse to feed this machine any longer. We're not doing it anymore. We're tired. It's time for us to do what's best for us. And it's not here in these United States. All right, folks. I will leave you be with that. I'll see you all in the next video. Ciao, ciao.